Good morning. Arnold Schwarzenegger here. Anyway, this is the real progressive. And I want to explain something because the progressive movement has been hijacked by a bunch of idiots called the Squad and all these liars that actually were progressive in the beginning, particularly AOC. A progressive is not somebody that's woke. A progressive is not someone that believes in this climate change nonsense. We may be having some climate change. There's a debate actually as to whether it's global warming or global cooling, because we have just come off of an ice age, 9,000 BC. Before that, there were nearly 2 miles of ice over Manhattan Island. There's still evidence of that today. You can see on some of the boulders there, you can see scratch marks on them from the glacier movements. Anyway, a progressive is somebody that wants progress. And I'm a real progressive. Not like some of these Pinos, which is a progressive in name only. A progressive wants high-tech energy production, like in fusion energy, nuclear power, new technologies of nuclear power, beryllium reactions, clean uranium, plutonium. There's clean nuclear power we can develop, and there is fusion. We've got several different fusion technologies that we're working on. Second thing is water management. We need high-tech water management, like, for instance, the Nawapa project, which was dumped in the 60s because it was going to cost $20 billion and we couldn't afford to spend that. Oh my God. Well, if not, Nawapa had been passed and been done, we would not be having water shortages today, particularly in California, because the basic premise of Nawapa was to divert 2 rivers in Alaska that dump off the mountains right into the Arctic Ocean, divert those back south and fill the 500-mile-long trench in British Columbia, build a massive lake, freshwater lake, and with dams and locks, you can refill all of the rivers of North America. And I'm talking about massive amounts of fresh water that will supply the population for 100 years or more. We've already got more rainfall because of so-called global warming. We've also got more plant growth on the planet today than ever before, because plants need CO2, that dangerous, poisonous gas, carbon dioxide. Oh, God help us. So that's a progressive. Electric vehicles are great. I love them, man. My girlfriend's got a Tesla, and I love that thing, man. It's like a race car. It scares her a little bit when I get going over 100 miles an hour, but that thing zips along. I like it. But you got to have the power grid to handle the charging. And you're not going to save the environment. You're not going to fix global warming if that's what you want to do. You're not going to do it by producing electric vehicles, because the cost and the energy production needed to build electric cars and the batteries is more than a gasoline car hybrid's actually the most efficient, best technology of vehicles to reduce CO2. But the people that are making the decisions are idiots because they are not really interested in fixing global warming. What they are actually interested in is reducing the world's population down to 1 billion. And that is clearly stated by the psychopath Henry Kissinger. I think he just died at like 110 or something. The guy was pure evil. Bill Gates is another one. There was a Global 2000 report that came out in the early 1980s declaring that the world was overpopulated, that we needed to cut the world's population, cull the herd, in other words, down to 1 billion so we can have sustainability. Well, let me think. Who would be on the chopping block if you want to reduce the world's population down to 1 billion? I can guarantee you that any of these psychopaths that are in the WEF will be spared of the culling. You can be guaranteed that you will not be looking at white populations for so-called culling. They're going to be going after the black and brown populations, of course. That's the way it always works with these evil, racist psychopaths. And that's what they are. A psychopath, and that's where you hear this term reptilian. Because a psychopath basically has a reptilian brain. And the reptilian brain is a very ancient, basic, prehistoric brain where all the brain can do is reproduce, figure out a way to reproduce, eat, and sustain itself, protect itself. And the ways that it does that is by killing, destroying, taking what it needs without any thought of any kind of ethics or morals or any type of remorse or regret. It's like a narcissist on steroids. So that's what you've got. Anyway, back to a real progressive. Water management, clean water, good air. California actually has cleaned up its air out here with the with the regulations on fuel for cars. I remember when I moved out here in the early 90s, late 80s. I mean, this place had a brown haze over it. You could barely see downtown or the mountains ever, unless you had a major rain or windstorm. Now it's like we got blue skies almost all the time. You got a little haze, but it ain't nothing like it used to be. So I'm for the EPA. I'm for regulations. I want to see free state colleges. This is not the Ivy League universities. I mean, that bullshit. If you want to spend millions of dollars in your education so that you can put an acronym on your resume, good for you. If your daddy and mommy can afford to put you in college so you can get one of those degrees, then go for it. But for the rest of us, the minorities and the poor and the middle class, we need free college. Free state college, community colleges, because it's an investment in the population, it's an investment in the future, and European countries know this. Americans are idiots, especially Republicans, because they think that, oh my God, you can't cancel the debt. I mean, look at Joe Biden. He passed the banking regulation bill where you could not get out from under your student loans under bankruptcy. Biden was on the bad side of every single policy in the last 50 years. He pushed NAFTA. He pushed the war in Iraq. He pushed the war in Afghanistan. He pushed the crime bill. I mean, you name it. This guy is a raving lunatic racist. And for anybody that votes for this fool, this puppet, has not thought it through, does not know history, because if they did, they wouldn't vote for this lunatic. We need to fire this guy, send him to a nursing home where he can do what he can do best, which is feed pigeons while he's sitting on a park bench in his bathrobe. That's what he needs to be doing. He does not need to be running the government, which actually he's not anyway. He's just a figurehead. We know that. I suspect Obama's actually running the thing. The fact that Biden committed crimes with classified documents, this Hur report that came out, special prosecutor, laid down the evidence. Biden is guilty of espionage, stealing classified documents. He was never legally able to do that as a senator or a vice president, but he did it so he could write a book under a ghost writer because he couldn't write one himself. He made $8 million on that. He knew he had done it, but they're not going to prosecute him because he's just an old tottering fool with a bad memory. But he can run the country. He can be president of the United States? Come on! Where is the outrage? Where is this is insanity! And the Democratic Party are some of the worst Machiavellian psychopaths. I keep using that word, but that's what they are. They will do anything to stop Trump. They made up this whole January 6th thing. It's not an insurrection. I mean, you know, Ray Epps is guilty of inciting the riots. He even sent a text to his nephew. I started the whole thing. Oh, come on. Oh, we're not going to go after him because he was just really just a nice guy that was just trying to help. Give me a frickin' break. You can see the evidence. It's clear as day that this was not an insurrection. This was incited by FBI agents during the Proud Boys trial. It was proven that there were over 50 human resources in the crowd and agents instigating this thing. There were agents and confidential human sources in the White House, in the Capitol before the riots with MAGA gear on before the doors were opened. That's proven now. You got the video evidence, which was hidden before. The J6 so-called committee that investigated the thing without any opposition just pushed the narrative. Lost evidence, deleted files, lost passwords to keep the truth from coming out. Nancy Pelosi personally stopped the National Guard from protecting the Capitol when Trump specifically asked for it. He said, "What do you need to protect the Capitol?" Because there was evidence that there was going to be some violence. The FBI knew it because they had infiltrated all the organizations. So they knew it was going to happen. Anyway, I got to go, all right? Like, subscribe, take it easy.